Morena, tēnā koutou katoa. Welcome to this Friday live. How's your lockdown going? I must admit, my bubble is great and I'm enjoying it, but I know that's not everybody's experience. Today's exciting as well because I get a trip out and I get to wear a shirt. So I put a shirt on today, and that's not just because I'm coming on camera to talk to you, but because I get a trip out to the supermarket today. First time I've been in the car for over a week. First time I've probably seen some other humans for over a week. So very exciting, and that's, I guess, a reflection of where life is at right now for many of us. And whilst we're all united in the common theme that we are on lockdown, everybody is experiencing this differently. And I've heard people talk about it right from I feel isolated for those that live and work alone, right through to I feel overcrowded because I've got a house full of kids and family that are normally out at work and school. And there's also a difference in how we are embracing this change in the way we live and work as well. So right from, might have seen my blog last week about how do we embrace this time we've been given and make the most of this time, almost like an enforced retreat. So there's people that are telling me I'm loving the additional time to spend with family and time out, right through to the panic that people feel the need to be overproductive, to get out there, to get things done, to make the most of this time and to do a million other things now we've been given an opportunity to stay home. And with that comes this productivity guilt. So it's emphasized, if you look on social media, by a lot of other people posting stuff about how much they're doing, how they're training for a marathon, baking their own bread, so productive at work. It's kind of like productivity porn, if you like. And that leaves us feeling like, oh my God, I've got all this additional time. I must do something useful with it, because that's how we're conditioned to live. So rather than embracing this slowness, we can find the opposite. I'm needing to be more productive at work because I'm working from home and there's this need to push myself, improve myself, or my role has become a bit more firefighting and reactive because of the times we're living in, or I'm worried about keeping my job, I'm worried about my business, and this is leading us into a space of needing to do more. And this is particularly true if you're a high achiever. So you know from the imposter syndrome work that I do that I talk a lot about high achievers and perfectionism linking to imposter syndrome. And it's one of the things where working from home is concerned, and particularly in these times, if you're a high achiever, you will be tempted. There will be this drive to do more. Now we're working from home. The lines are slightly blurred between work and home. We don't commute to the office and work 9 to 5, so we can find ourselves doing more hours at home. And then this productivity guilt creeps in, that I need to be doing more, that I need to be productive. We're in an unfamiliar environment if we're not in our office, so it can be made harder to achieve. We're not collaborating with teams and seeing people face to face as we would normally. So this increases the pressure. But on top of that, we put pressure on ourselves to, be at home with our kids and keep them amused, be the perfect teacher for our homeschooled children, as well as holding down our day job in this unfamiliar environment. And then on top of that, we want to be baking bread and training for a marathon, clearing out our wardrobe, all the things now we've been given the time we want to embrace. So no wonder we're feeling this extra pressure. But it's pressure in some respects we put on ourselves. So I wanted to highlight that today because it's a common theme that's been coming up. But what I also want to talk about is this I should be, this need to be doing lots of things. So I should be doing more exercise now I'm not having to commute to work. I should be baking my own bread, and I should be making nutritious meals because I've got all this time at home. And it's one of the things that in our current climate, there's many of us not feeling on top form, many of us feeling tired. Some of us that are going through kind of, peaks and troughs of I'm fine, it's all good, actually I'm not fine, I'm feeling exhausted. And this kind of happens in waves. And the interesting thing is with the times that we're in right now, they are unprecedented. This is something very unusual. It's having a massive impact, and there's a massive mental adjustment that comes with that. And that takes time. It also takes its toll. So emotionally and physically, we will feel more tired. We might find that we're not as motivated as we normally are. So you overlay that, which is a normal part of the weird, strange times that we find ourselves in and the routines that we're having to adapt to. You overlay that with this productivity guilt, and I need to do more, and I need to prove myself, and I need to be homeschooling my kids, doing my job from home perfectly, and baking bread and running marathons. If you put all that together, it's a recipe for disaster. So what I'd like us to do is just be aware of that, set some good boundaries around ourselves, know if you're a high achiever that this is a trap that's going to be really easy to fall into for you. So set your times that you work at home and make those flexible around your family. Put your family first so you get to connect and be with the kids, but then also have time away in a separate space where you can go to do your work and to focus. It is easy to blur the lines when we're working from home and find that we're still logged on long after 5 o'clock, or we're logging back on in the evening. This needs to be the exception rather than the rule. So having those good boundaries is key, and going easy on ourselves and knowing that in our current climate, with all that we're dealing with now and the mental adjustment that takes, it is going to be normal for us to have off days. So just going with that, being with that. And if we're not as motivated some days as others, that's fine. Take that time and know that we're not going to be massively productive every day. And that's okay. That's a sign of the times that we're in. It is a marathon, not a sprint. I've heard that mentioned a few times over the last week, and it makes a lot of sense. We're here for, we don't know how long yet. So it's critical that we maintain our energy, that we get into good routines, and we set some good boundaries, particularly if we are high achievers, because we know we have that tendency to push ourselves much harder than we need to and beat ourselves up much more. So giving ourselves time, having that mental adjustment period, going easy on ourselves, whilst being able to embrace this opportunity we've got. So I'll pop a link in the comments to the blogs that I've been doing this week, embracing this opportunity we've got to have more time, so to take downtime, to be with family, to readjust while we're not commuting or doing our social activities every evening. How do we readjust, and how does that give us space and perspective to start considering what's more important in life? Because let's face it, before this happened, we were all very busy, and life will probably never be the same again once we emerge from our lockdown. So what is that going to look like for you, and what are you going to do differently? We'll only be able to figure that out if we've had the time, space and perspective. So making the most of that and dealing with, yes, we need to be productive, but how do we do that within the parameters of the space that we find ourselves? So that's what I want to leave you with today. You'll have noticed this week as well that there's a few webinars that I've got coming up over the next few weeks. Imposter Syndrome Summer School, which we did obviously in summer and in person, is now online as well, and that's kicking off in May. So there's a whole host of things for you to have a look at, see what resonates for you. The idea is that I'm sharing this stuff that I hope helps gets us through the next couple of months and that will be useful, and I'll pop the link for those in the comments section of this live. It's all been made half price because, let's face it, it's going to be tough times for us all financially over the next few months. So to recognise that there is an option for those that may not be earning as much as they once were, or maybe worried about their job security. So wherever you're at in your lockdown, I hope that you're going to have a wonderful weekend and make the most of this time, and to give yourself space to mentally adjust to our new normal. I'm highly excited about my supermarket trip this afternoon and getting outside, and I'm also really privileged and grateful to be in the bubble that I find myself in and to do the work that I do. So I'll leave you with that. Enjoy the rest of your day. Mā te wā.